Hi, this is Reverend Sherry James, and I am sharing with you the blog post for Thursday, March 15th, 2018. I want to shout out my Metaphysical Bible Hangout student, Naomi Mercius, who suggested that I record these blog posts. And so we'll see how this goes. This is an experiment, but if it works, we'll keep doing them. We are in the midst of studying Neville Goddard's prayer, The Art of Believing. And we're on the 7th chapter of 7, and the title of this chapter is The Greatest Prayer. The material in this blog post is inspired by that chapter, and I titled the blog post, The Most Powerful Prayer You Can Pray for a Miracle. The most powerful prayer you can pray for a miracle is the prayer of recognition of your complete and total oneness with God. WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. You can only manifest externally according to what you see internally. Said differently, everything you see outside of you points back to what you actually see inside of you. The ruling principle of the universe is WYSIWYG. It's an acronym, WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. Can you see yourself living peacefully, full of health, debt-free, and cash flow positive? Yes? Then WYSIWYG. Imagination is the beginning of creation. Truly, all things are possible for you, but only what you see shall be realized by you. The question to answer is, how do you see yourself? Because how you see yourself determines what you get. One of my personal mantras is, how God does anything is how God does everything. It reminds me that we live in a spiritual universe governed by spiritual laws. When I get an experience that I don't want, I remind myself that somewhere in me lies a belief that supports this experience. The law says, as you sow, so shall you reap. I may not always be able to clearly identify the belief that supports the thing I do not want, but I know God is not mocked, so if it's here, there's a belief in me supporting it. First, understand your seed potential. Let's consider how God creates. Look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 12. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit whose seed was in itself after its kind. Everything God creates comes with its own seed in it. The seed is the potential of the thing built. God puts the seed potential, the blueprint of the thing itself inside the thing. Then we get to verse 26 and it reads, and God said, let us make humankind in our image, after our likeness. When he gets to humankind, he puts the seed of himself in us. That means that everything God can do, I can do. But only if I can see it. WYSIWYG. I cannot do beyond what I can see in me. So this 20th century Barbadian mystic that we've been studying comes along and says, every dream could be realized by those self-disciplined enough to see it. He says the most powerful prayer you can pray is the one that recognizes you as one with your Creator. Why? Because you contain the seed potential of God within you. God's potential is your potential. Second, you control what awakens in your seed potential. Now, maybe believing that God's potential is your potential is just too great a leap. So Neville says, start with Jesus. Jesus of Nazareth, who scattereth the evil with his eye, is asleep in the imagination of every man. Out of his own imagination must man awaken him by subjectively affirming, I am Jesus. Then and only then will he see Jesus, for man can only see what is awake within himself. Your seed potential, which is God, is limitless. But you can only bring forth according to what is awake within you. When you pray, I am Jesus, you stir up those qualities within yourself that Jesus exemplified in his life. You invite the attitudes, habits, and beliefs of Jesus to come alive in you. See, everything in your world points to a belief awakened within you, and you control what awakens in your seed potential. Do you want a different experience? Are you ready for a supernaturally charged life? Are you open to a Red Sea parting, water coming from rocks, feeding 5,000 with a few fish and loaves kind of lifestyle? There's a hat tip to Mae McCarthy right there. Then it's time to awaken something new within yourself. So third, agree with the seed potential of all things. The prayer, I am Jesus, awakens in you the skill to see as Jesus sees. Like Jesus, you stop sympathizing with and agreeing to the limitations of human beings. In your mind, you start separating people from their false concepts of themselves and their true being. You develop a super low tolerance for excuses. People come to you whining about how they cannot do something, and you begin to awaken in them an awareness that they can. They come complaining to you about how bad things are, and you begin to stir a consciousness in them for their capacity to expand. People step up in your presence instead of sitting down. To the one who dares to affirm, I am Jesus, poverty is but the sleep of wealth. He does not see caterpillars, but painted butterflies to be. Not winter, but summer sleeping. Not a person in want, but Jesus sleeping. Let us throw off the belief in human limitation and begin to agree with the potential of all things. Let us remember that no matter how a person appears to you, your eye must always rest on the seed potential, which is God, within him or her. 4, success is the default setting in your seed potential. Though unformed, the oak within the acorn is complete. What the acorn can become shall not deviate from its seed potential. Because God is real consistent in how he does things, that's also true of you. Though unformed, the spiritual giant within you is complete. What you can become shall not deviate from your seed potential. See, you can keep the acorn from becoming an oak by placing it in adverse circumstances. I mean, if you put it in a bottle of alcohol instead of planting it in good soil, you can stop it. Or if you put it in good soil but give it no sunlight or water, you can stunt it. Maybe this describes your life. Metaphorically, you were dropped in a bottle of alcohol. Your environment snuffed out your ability to sprout. Or maybe you were in the right environment but didn't get the sunlight and water, the affirmation and encouragement that you needed. If that's you, remember, creation is not finished. Someone can impact the factors that influence your manifestation, but they cannot change the blueprint. Your seed potential can never be canceled. Several years ago, a tree that was extinct, the Judean date palm tree, grew anew from an ancient jar of seeds unearthed by archaeologists. If God did not cancel the seed potential in the Judean date palm tree, he did not cancel yours either. In the right soil, you shall sprout. Success is your default setting. It's never too late to become what you were designed to be. 5th, begin by changing what you see in yourself. See, and this is a quote from Neville, man only sees himself. Man only sees himself. This is a hard thing. Man only sees himself. Nothing befalls man that is not of the nature of himself. See, what you become has no limits, but it always conforms to what you see in yourself. Before earning the label Oracle of San Quentin, Curtis Carroll grew up poor and illiterate. Carroll says his family never had much money. They lived on welfare and bounced around from the streets to homeless shelters to churches to apartments in and around Oakland, California. And I sourced this from MarketWatch.com. He fell into a life of crime that culminated in him killing a man in a botched robbery attempt. In prison, he accidentally grabbed the business section instead of the sports section for his cellmate to read to him. He couldn't read, but when he discovered that the stock market is where white people keep their money, he decided to learn. His desire to understand stocks fueled his quest to learn to read. Learning to read changed what he saw in himself. And when he saw himself differently, his external picture changed. The best way to change what you see in yourself is to acquire a new skill. Building a new skill expands upon the seed potential within you. Carroll's life changed when he learned to read. What skill can you acquire that will change you? Sixth, reach for your highest possible rank, Christ. Do not stop with the affirmative prayer, I am Jesus. Reach for your highest possible rank, Christ. Neville says, let us seek for and evoke the greatest rank, and the noblest of all is that which disrobes man of his mortality and clothes him with uncurbed immortal glory. Let us assume the feeling, I am Christ, and our whole behavior will subtly and unconsciously change in accordance with that assumption. Christ is your seed potential. When you have let go of every excuse for why life is the way it is, when you finally do away with the belief in your own human limitations, when you truly recognize that success is your default setting, you will begin to see something different within yourself. And when you see something different in you, watch out. The real you is coming forth. You become, as my board member calls herself, a manifesting machine. The most powerful prayer you can pray for a miracle is, I am Christ. With these words, you identify with your real self. You throw off the belief in limitation and open the door wide for unlimited creation. I am Christ takes the acorn out of the jar of alcohol and places it in good soil. I am Christ removes all the blockages to sunlight and water. I am Christ optimizes the conditions and circumstances around you. It enables the seed potential within you to germinate and grow and expand you into the full-grown spiritual giant you always were. If you like this post, please visit RevSherry.com/most-powerful-prayer and leave a comment. Thank you, Naomi, for this idea, and I give thanks for all the people who are blessed by it.